Have you ever thought about using trading bots? I used Bitsgap in the last bull market and turned $1,000 into $50,000 within a 5-month period. I documented the whole process and put it in a playlist if you want to see that, along with other training videos and tutorials how to set bots up and make the most of the volatility of the crypto market. If you sign up with a link in the description, you'll get a 7 days free trial with no obligation to continue, and you can also use a demo account within Bitsgap so you don't have to risk your own capital. Bitsgap! Hello everybody, welcome back, good morning. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. We'll also have a quick look at the DXY. So the DXY, just based on this weekly here, starting the week bouncing on a 10 exponential on a weekly. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, I say oh dear, I mean it's oh dear for anybody who's, I suppose, overexposed. And this does make it look a little more likely that based on the weekly over a, well, I say a reasonable period of time, we're going to find our way towards this 104.2, basically a 20 weekly moving average, which again, you know, in favour of bears, is pointing down and offers rejection. 65% more likely to be rejected from here than break out from it, so there is always that, so don't worry about it too much. But as of this very moment in time, does look like we want to move up a little bit higher. If we take ourselves to the daily, obviously we've got the 200 simple and the exponential. And we're making another run on that based on this 7 simple. So this might not mean a great deal to people who are just thinking, oh, well, he's moving out. So the 7 simple is normally the last stage of any kind of run, whether it's bullish or bearish. So the fact that we're getting bought on it now shows that dollar is bullish, really. But it would also say that we're going to move into one last move, like well, I suppose we'll call it a breakout, really, because it will be a breakout on this daily. Breaking out from these would be pretty explosive, and the first major target is going to be given to us on that weekly. So dollar looks like it wants to continue up, even though there's major resistance above us on the daily. I think it's more likely that we see ourselves break out at this point. And you know the deal, don't you? You know the deal. A breakout, you know, for or a move up for the DXY normally, not always, normally corresponds into all other markets going down. It's just the normal way. Yeah, it's not hocus pocus. Basically, if a dollar is more valuable than it was yesterday, that anything that's been priced in dollars is obviously the same value, but it goes down in value on paper because the dollar is more valuable than whatever it was that was priced in a dollar. You know that, but some people might not know that. So that's the summary of why that would be the case. So there. Based on the 4 hourly, by the way, fresh golden crosses on exponentials and sorry, on simples, but now on exponentials, really. So I suppose this does favour breakout. Right, so what does this mean for crypto? Well, we're waking up to a sea of red. No big deal. The weekend gave us a minuscule, tiny little pump, if you even want to call it that, really, to be honest with you. It really wasn't much at all. So I did take a position over Friday. The idea was to sell it into Sunday. Sold it for literally barely anything. The price was non-existent. And normally, you know, you'd expect a sell-off on Sundays, and that's what we've got. So yeah, looks like we're heading down to the first major zone where I would get particularly interested. Doesn't mean that this is the exact perfect horizontal line where it will bounce from, but when we get into this area, this $38,000 zone for Bitcoin, that's when I start to feel a little bit more enticed to maybe try some larger trades. If you remember, what I did from Friday was put in 5%, which is still quite a lot, really. But 5% of, you know, my fiat balance, you know, everything that was sold around here, you know, on a proportionately is obviously quite small. Anyway, it was a pretty crap trade, to be honest with you. Nothing really happened, and down we go. So Bitcoin showing its weakness now, crypto also being pretty weak, and the MACD crossing down below the 0 point now. So every aspect of this chart does not look good. So if we take it down to a 4 hourly, the main thing to think about here is, do we have, or are we going to print any form of divergence play? Because we've got death crosses here. This is the exact opposite of the DXY. Recognize that for what it is, right? The DXY is doing the opposite. On the 4 hourly, it's got golden crosses and it's breaking out. On the daily, it's about to make a big breakthrough. And the weekly, obviously, is already moving up towards its main support, its main resistance. And we are doing the exact opposite for Bitcoin, right? So there's symmetry in these markets, and that's a good thing. That's what we like. We like to have symmetry. There's no one isolated market, they're all interconnected, especially now that we got what we asked for. Did we ask for it? But we got it all the same. The Bitcoin Spot ETF. So, yep, you're absorbed into the system now. Bitcoin is, well, is it decentralized or is it not? That's the question. In theory, it's decentralized. There's a way to centralize the decentralized currency, isn't there? And that's to own as much of it as possible or control the mining. If you can do all of that, it's not decentralized at all. It's very much centralized. Anyway, I'm not here to discuss that. It's just charts. That's my thing. That's my little thing. And the charts are pushing this this support, and I would imagine that it's going to break probably today, but that remains to be seen. If we bounce, it's the same as we were saying over the weekend. The death crosses offer nothing more than resistance, and resistances that need to be thought of as either a sell or a short or a down token or a down token bot. It doesn't bode well for breakout territory, right? It just does not, right? There's only one real thing I would imagine that will break us out from here, and that would be a sneaky trick bear trap that would be that might even be from the hands of the great and powerful, or some other bullish development, which I find it hard to imagine what could even come out that would be bullish. But you just don't know. But based on these charts, down only, down is what is. That's the deal, is down. Now we do have 1, 2, and we'll probably be working on a third drive of bullish divergence on the money flow index, on the 4 hourly. And there is bullish divergence in a way, it being printed on the RSI on the 4 hourly. So that there is evidence enough to say that a bounce is coming, but I'm not willing to play a bounce unless it's based around a main support. And because I'm projecting downside to take place over a period of months, I'm not really interested in trying to scrape sort of these these particular lows. They're not that interesting to me. And if we get to 38,000, which I'm sure we will, we probably will see a bounce from there, but I'm not having buy orders set at 38,000. What my plan would be to see what kind of reaction we get at 38,000 and not play the Bitcoin bounce, but actually look to play altcoin bounces if we get symmetry across the board. Symmetry being, we recognize that Ethereum is actually still, relatively bullish, still a bullish chart, still above its major support, still golden crossed, still looking good. On the daily, it's not the same for Bitcoin. We are pulling back into a 200 exponential now for the 4 hourly on Ethereum, which makes us feel like if there's going to be a bounce, it would come from here. Am I going to play it? No, I'm not. I have to keep putting it out there. I am not really in any way tempted to rush back into these markets, right? The markets will give us big gains later on, I'm sure. They might give us a 10% bounce from here, but it's not the big ones. That's not what I'm looking for. Look at this. So we've been trending up for a while on this chart, and we have had consolidations. We get consolidations roughly into a 200 exponential here. That was a good one. This one was a bit of a mess over here, but we still rebounded, V-shaped recovery, and went onto a new local high. So you might get it from here, but you might not. If we pull back into the 2,150. That's still a major area to think about buying from. That's the equivalent, I suppose, of Bitcoin's 38,000. And if that's the case, that's another 10% from here. It's still not a rock hard set in stone area that we would want to bounce from. So, to be honest with you, I am looking for the markets to break down over a period of months, really. Absolutely, that is exactly what I'm looking for. And I can't stress enough, as much as I make these videos on a daily basis, and there are potential opportunities that emerge on a day-to-day, sometimes worthy of playing. Most of the time, I would say at this point now, not worthy of playing. Yeah, so I'll make these videos and we can discuss them. We can do the Patreon live streams Tuesdays and Fridays, and we can discuss every chart. No altcoin is created equal. You know, they all have their own pros and cons, despite a major downtrend in the market. But there's still absolutely plenty of room to move down, and the down is more attractive than the up, but I'm still not looking to short. Like I say, I keep repeating myself, but I'm not joking when I say it. You know, you can try and play little bounces from areas, and these charts haven't yet fully broken down, especially, well, Ethereum hasn't actually begun to break down. So Ethereum hasn't given the same signs as Bitcoin has. But Bitcoin's looking very sad. And it will likely take Ethereum down with it if it continues to consolidate. We've not had any FUD in the market yet. I'm sure we will, because if the ETF guys, just like everybody else, want to buy at lower prices, they have the capacity, they have the power, they have the influence to FUD this market, like they basically do with every other market. So that's what we've got. That's what we should wait for. And look, just try not to go crazy in this market. This, to me, is not really any different, again, I say it all the time, to this portion in the market. Bull market began here. Bull market took off around here. Everyone's going crazy. This is Ethereum we're looking at, but it serves the same purpose. Bull market peaked over here and then consolidated all the way down. So, you know, all Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins looked like this. There was no difference to it. They all looked like this. And, you know, no matter what chart you were looking at, how bullish it was at the time, very, very unlikely that it was able to counterbalance the overall direction of the market. So, I'm sure there's other YouTubers out there that are like super turbo bullish on this market as of this very moment in time. Not me. I find that the higher term time frames offer the largest moves, and as far as the higher term time frames are concerned on all of these markets, yeah, there's opportunity, but it's not suggesting to me that we should get particularly bullish in the immediate term. I think what we're looking at is a rounded top forming on a weekly, and you know, throughout this year we're going to find our way back down to the mid to low 30s, maybe even lower than that if the FUD starts to come out, which, you know, that's normally the deal, isn't it? So boring start to the week, I appreciate that. Sad start to the week, yeah, I understand. It's not what you want to hear, I get that, unless of course you're like me that sold, you know, relatively close to the top of this run and are now waiting for a much more appropriate lower price to buy back from, which will move into a much faster, more parabolic style of bull market, aka the bull run. And that's what we should be waiting for and targeting, because that's where the real money gets made, not in these little pieces of day-to-day trades, not in trying to catch every last little piece of price action on these charts, but to wait for the major swings, and the major swing will take place from a lower place. Yeah, I'm adamant about it. There's no crystal ball, there's no guarantees, but pretty sure that what we're going to be subject to now is a long, drawn-out, sideways and downtrend. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. And so we should enjoy watching that. No, it might not be as profitable in the short term, but over the long term, it will absolutely be the best thing you've ever waited for. Maybe not ever, but one of the best things that you've waited for. And guess what? It's not that long of a time, right? If you think about this proportionately, you're looking to make a 500 to 1,000% by the end of, by the end of this bull market, some point in 2025, right? That's roughly, you'll be happy with that. Right? No other markets usually offer that 500% just from buying and holding something. And 2025 is, what, if you measure it towards the end of 2025, that's a 2-year period. So, year on year, if you think about it from the lower time frames, and the lower targets, that's 250% a year. If you do it the right way, that's the lowest estimate, right? So 250%, a year, not from here, from lower down. So if you just focus on a plan, like that being your particular plan, because I'm not saying that is your plan, that's my plan. I think it's relatively realistic. I'm going to make some educated guesses as to where these lows are going to be as and when we see the momentum pick up to the downside. That is decent. And look, I'm only saying 250% because that's like the lower estimate. Right? You know, if you start projecting particular figures in your mind, saying that this is my absolute goal, I will not sell until my goal is reached, it's kind of not a good idea. So many things change in the market. It's what a lot of people don't quite get. You know, the market changes pretty much on a, you know, it can change like in an instant, and that's fine. And then we have to readjust our analysis to deal with that. But you know, 250% is fine to expect within a year, but that might not mean that you're going to get it this year. It might all come at the end. Anyway, rambling, boring you, trying to cheer you up on this Monday. Might not happen, not given with the price action that we're faced with at the moment. So yeah, 38,000 on the cards, given the size of the momentum curling over right now. I think that's only just step one. I think it's more likely that we do make our way back down towards 32, to be honest with you, over a period of months. Right, go and do some meditation or whatever it takes for you to get over this, because that is the deal. Obviously, altcoins will emphasize anything that Bitcoin does. Don't really see any main reason to tout or call for an alt season right now. I think the alt season has been done and dusted, and luckily for us, we took part in that from the low as well, didn't we? And pretty much got out at the top. So stay tuned, subscribe, like the video. Like, I might not be a big channel, but you know, this is my job. It's profitable. I'm only letting you know what I do, and you know, I'm not here to try and get loads of subscribers. Otherwise, I'd say anything it would take to appeal to the masses. Truth is harder to sell than hope. You know, people don't generally want to buy into reality, do they? They would much rather live for you know, some kind of, you know, crazy bullish dream. But if you are here watching this video, then it tells me that you do enjoy a little bit of reality. And you know, reality, love it or hate it, it's the only one we've got, and it's the one that makes the money, at least anyway. Right, thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.